Hi everyone, this is Pastor David, and for our stewardship video for this week, we wanted to take you behind the scenes to see some of the technology that makes our online worship possible, and a lot of this has been a part of our church for many years now. In the sanctuary, there was actually a project we began in January. Had no idea the pandemic was coming. This was to make our worship experience here in our traditional service and our sanctuary be more enriched, and a big piece of that was improving the lighting. I recall the TV lights, and again, our TV ministry has been a part of this church since 1970. That's 50 years, which is absolutely remarkable. But it was time for some upgrades, and lighting was first on the list. We removed the old TV lights, and if you look at the top of your screen, you'll see a new bank of spotlights that are at the ceiling, much higher up than the old ones, and providing better lighting for our worship space, for our pulpit and our lectern and the altar area. We also installed strips of lights above the choir so that now they can see their music and we could see them more easily. And this has also made lighting for our live stream worship that much better. It also required an upgrade to our cameras. And so after the pandemic hit, and we knew we were worshiping online only for a while, we went ahead and invested in new digital cameras that provided a better quality picture for those connecting with us online. The other big change in our sanctuary was the addition of new screens. You see those lighted rectangular boxes up there. Those are our screens, 2 new projectors, again at the ceiling where the lights are, and that allows us to share videos and other elements in worship, both in person and online, and that was just a tremendous step for us. We did it in such a way as not to detract from the beauty of this amazing sanctuary. To make all of this work, I'm going to turn the camera a little bit, and you will see we added a little new technology up here in the balcony. We've always had the soundboard, but now we have a new computer up here, and that runs everything that goes onto the screen as well as what you see online at home. And then the box that's under, the module there that is under the computer, is our lighting module, and that allows us to control the lights here in the sanctuary. And so as you can see, some big changes here. And now let's run down to the TV room. Many of you haven't seen inside of that, and see what awaits us there. Well, the next stop on our tour is our TV control room, and as I mentioned, our TV ministry has been a part of this church for 50 years, but many of you have probably never been behind the scenes to see where all the magic happens. And this room is back behind the sanctuary, and at first glance this probably looks like you would imagine a TV control room to look. We have this great big bank of monitors and controllers, of compressors and mixers that makes the magic happen every single week as we prepared that Cox TV broadcast and for many years on Fox as well. But one of the changes that happened in the new year, even before the pandemic, was that we began to live stream our 11 o'clock service. And then once the pandemic hit and we began to worship online only and upgrading the cameras that are in the sanctuary, we made a change in how we run what you see each week as we worship together. And all of the work of this giant bank of equipment can now be done on one computer. It's a powerful computer, but you see the monitor right in front of you. And on that computer, we run a program called vMix. And what vMix does is receive the feeds from all of the cameras, as well as from the computer you saw in the balcony, so that what's on the screen in the sanctuary can appear in our TV broadcast and in our live stream. And our director, whoever it is, each week sitting in the chair in front of you, will be in communication with the camera people and with the balcony and controls what you see at home. It's truly amazing. And it's one of those hidden blessings in the midst of this pandemic, was that we went ahead and upgraded some of the equipment that we were planning to eventually, and found the need to go ahead and invest in that in the short term and for our long-term ministries. The other part of this TV room, to show you quickly with a quick pan, is that we have a second soundboard here. You saw the soundboard up in the sanctuary. That controls the sound that you would hear if you were in the sanctuary, but this soundboard is just for the TV broadcast and for the live stream. And so what you hear at home gets mixed from that chair. So as you can see, it requires quite a few volunteers behind the scenes to make this happen each and every week. A sound person here in the TV room, and a director, camera people, and then those who work up in the balcony. And so we have them to thank for being being able to allow us to continue to be the church together and to press on in ministry during this pandemic. Now let's take a quick skip over to the Family Life Center, and there we're going to take a look at the tech booth. Well, our last stop on our behind-the-scenes technology tour is the Family Life Center tech booth. And you can see the screens on the top of the stage in the Family Life Center in the background of this picture. And here, all of the technology that happens for our 9 o'clock service, as well as the live stream, happens from this one tech booth. The equipment is very similar to what you saw in the sanctuary, except here it's all in one space. You see immediately in front of you on the left side of this shot, the computer that controls what is on the screens in the Family Life Center and the videos and lyric slides that you would see at home on online worship. And we have a volunteer who works this station every single week to make sure that you're able to keep up with all that's going on in the service. To the right, we have our soundboard and the monitors there for David to do mixing of recordings. So this soundboard can control what you would hear in the Family Life Center, but it also sends a signal to our live stream computer that allows us to remix the sound for the live stream. And then the bank that you see there of equipment is our receivers for the sound. All of our wireless microphones and others comes into that. It's powered there and then goes into our soundboard. And then finally, on the far side of the room, we have our live stream computer, very similar to the one that we have in the sanctuary. The person who works our live stream computer each week, though, controls the cameras themselves. We have remote cameras here in the Family Life Center, and they are operated with an Xbox controller. They can zoom in, zoom out, pan, do anything you can do with a camera from right there. And then they get the feeds from those cameras as well as from our computer that runs the screens, so that those worshiping online at home get to see all the videos and the lyric slides and some of the great shots we get as we share worship together. One of the amazing things about all of this technology is that as we moved worship outdoors into the Grove, we were able to wire the Grove, run lines out there, so that this same tech booth is able to bring you a live stream of our outdoor worship. One of the people most responsible for making sure all of this works and stays in good order is David Bedenbaugh, our Director of Contemporary Worship. Let's have a conversation with him about all of this technology and the place of music as we move forward as a congregation.
Well, David, now that we have had a look behind the scenes at all of our technology and what it takes to live stream each and every week, at least at the 9 o'clock service, we had been live streaming for over a year, started almost 2 years now. But once the pandemic hit, and we went to online-only worship, we really had to hit fast forward. We had to take a huge technological leap in a short amount of time, not just for the 9 o'clock service, but also over in the sanctuary. We've looked to you on the staff to really guide that. Walk us through some of the things we had to do.
Yeah, well, right as you say, we've been live streaming even well before I came on board with the church, and hit the ground running with that when I started here, and just learned so much from the 9 o'clock service. And we ended up taking a lot of that knowledge and going over to our 11 o'clock service and saying, what are we doing here at 9 o'clock that we can apply over here, what we can learn from? And the first thing was upping our game with our cameras. So we went from SD to HD. So
That's standard definition to high definition.
That's right. So from the little box to the widescreen that we've all become accustomed to. So that was a major investment that we had made right on the heels of the lighting inside the sanctuary and projection that we really haven't been able to enjoy as a congregation quite yet. It's going to be some exciting things to look forward to.
We are looking forward to that, absolutely. Yeah.
So, and just after that, going along with the cameras, we got this amazing PC to control our live streaming output, going out to Facebook and YouTube. And there's a lot of tech that goes into that. Fortunately, we have people that we know we can call that are great at that, and made some great recommendations and hooked us up with some wonderful equipment. With the budget that we have as a church, it came right in where we wanted it. So we're very excited about what we have there. It's doing the job for us, and with plenty of room for growth in the future if we need to.
And so our live stream looks a lot better because of those investments, but we also needed it to sound a lot better. We were used to mixing sound just for people who are in the worship space,
right?
But now we know that people at home are listening. It's amazing to me. One of the things I learned is it sounds different at home than it does in the worship space. How do you do that?
Oh my goodness, there's so much that goes into that. We want to have a control over every instrument and every person that is speaking. So one of the things we were able to do with our 11 o'clock service was take our digital soundboard from the Family Life Center and scoot it over to that TV ministry room that we got to see on our video tour, because we needed to actually replace our digital board in the Family Life Center with one that could double what our capabilities were. We needed that to kind of up our game with all the musicians and all the different options that we wanted to be able to have for that 9 o'clock contemporary service. So that turned out to be a great investment that we made. And we've been able to use all those extra channels to run out to our outdoor service in the Grove.
Yeah, that's been a real treat, and I know it's made a difference for you. We normally see you up front leading music, but you do far more behind the scenes, particularly over these last 8 months. But for you to be able to incorporate all different musicians and instruments and to make it sound good, that takes a lot of work, and it makes a difference. And you would really just have to listen to a before and after, and we could really tell. But I did want to shift before the end of this because I mean, you've served so faithfully in our church behind the scenes but it's what we see on camera when you're leading worship that we know you best. What is it about music and worship that really gets to the heart of, what you've been called to do, serving the church in the way that you do?
Well, music has been like just a profound blessing in my life, giving me the opportunity to kind of process the world and express myself in a very, very healthy way all throughout my life. And to be at a church full time is just an amazing opportunity to make music and to know that it's helpful in the life of the church because it serves that spiritual need that we all have. And it can be sometimes difficult to make that internal change, that internal shift from just all the cares and troubles that we have to go through in life to worshiping Christ and getting our eyes shifted and that kind of frequency shift that we need. Music somehow does that, among other art forms and prayer, of course, Scripture. But I've been so blessed to be a part of the life of the church in that way. And, in the process of it, it changes me too. So it's a blessing to worship with everybody.
Absolutely, and it's been a gift to this church to have you guiding our contemporary worship, to have Vicki Giuliano with our traditional music and Charlene Cramner with our organ. And so no matter what style of worship, it just has a way of lifting up our hearts and our minds to God. Yes. And I think because of the way all of y'all experience music personally, as you lead us, it's something that we feed off of because we know it's resonating deeply with you. I think that just opens channels for us as well. And so thank you for blessing us with that. Part of our stewardship in our church is making sure that we can make the kinds of investments we made in our technology and in our music program. And remind you that our 2021 Commitment Sunday is next Sunday, November 15th. And we hope that you will prayerfully consider how you will continue to support our church in the years to come.